What exactly are we doing here?
We're just looking for someone to open the second half of the group stage. Last chance for all of these teams, do or die.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I got it. Got it. Thank you.
Coach one, take one.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really struggling with what exactly is my motivation here.
I really, really wanted to talk about all of the teams at the tournament because I feel like every single one of them has an amazing story, and I just really want to be able to tell it.
Okay, then. The margin for error is so small. One flash too early or too late can be the difference between making it out of groups or not.
So Liquid, and then there's Mad Lions, FPX though, Tom won.
Shh! Don't rush genius.
From ancient grudge, break under Reddit scrutiny, where first bloods make civil keyboards unclean.
I'm sorry, that's not a text.
Well, I get the text, okay? I'm just, I don't get the subtext. And so I'm asking my friend Bill Shakespeare for a little bit of help, okay? Right? This esports thing, love it. It's great what you're doing here. There's no emotion, all right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm giving you passion.
Oh, thank you for letting me audition this big speech remotely, and I think I can do it justice. Hello and welcome to the second half of the stage. Team to Reykjavik, look for their not a glory, but only a.
Hello, and welcome to the second half of the group stage. Well, what do you think?
Oh, what are you guys doing in here?
We're just looking for someone to open the second half of the group stage.
Oh, Worlds? Oh my God, that's so hype. This is my favorite time of the year. I mean, I feel like Worlds gets better every single year that we do it. Already, this group stage has been incredibly hype. I can't wait to figure out what happens next.
Oh my God, guys, we got it. Cut!
Were we recording? Sound wasn't on.
It's one of the most competitive worlds that we've ever had.
Group B, talent across the board. DDG is a titan.
Nice! Definitely right up there with Dongwon as looking like the two current best teams.
But there's one name that springs to the top. I mean, it's FLICKR.
FLICKR, it's the best player of all time.
What more is there to say?
내가 돌아왔다.
일단 이번 월드 또한 저희는 우승을 목표로 하고 있고.
You want to talk about T1 as the favorites? They still have to prove that now.
일단 한 번씩 다 상대봤기 때문에 팀이 어느 정도 어떤 성향인지 좀 느낄 수 있게 되는 것 같고 그리고.
It was EDG that denied T1 that MSI title. It was T1 that denied EDG getting out of groups.
These two teams bring out the best in each other.
只要我们队里不出现任何问题的话，就还是会顺利的赢下来。
EDG are gonna wipe T1 off the map.
오늘 해보니까 역시 쉬운 상대는 없다고 생각했고.
We used to dub Abadaga FLICKR Daga, and it's really cool to see him on the world stage.
I would just love to show a good performance against one of the greatest mid laners of all time.
FLICKR Daga, what was that?
Just to prove myself that I am a good mid laner.
Group B is no fun ride.
Right now everyone matters. We cannot show any mercy DFM.
But that's gonna be the game though. And 100 Thieves are gonna wrap it up.
어떻게 이길지 저희도 잘 모르기도 하지만 그래도 남은 경기 정말 최선을 다해서 후회 없는 경기 보여드리고 싶습니다.
People have always had high hopes for the LJL.
次の試合はね、もっとうまくやって爪痕残したらいいなと思ってます。
DFM, you're praying for upsets, you're praying for miracles, but this team has done it and has done it in their own way.
上手いチームが必ず勝つわけではないので、僕らの勝ち方をしっかりと見つけて We'll be able to beat DFM in the rematch.
You're not going to be ready for the storm.
T1밖에는 딱히 없는 것 같아요. 마지막에 3경기 연달하는데 그때 더 잘할 수 있을 것 같아요.
이번에도 저희가 승리하도록 하겠습니다.
It all leads to this. Make break.
Vitality will take them!
A new era is awaiting. Make it yours.
Welcome back to Worlds 2021, taking place in Reykjavik, Iceland. Yesterday, a fate that seemed set in stone fell to pieces, and from it, the future was formed right in front of our eyes. We waited 3 long years for yesterday, for the chance to witness a new era in North American League of Legends. And it all started, as all things do, with success. You see, if there's hope, if there's a shot, NA will take it. Cloud9 gave us a taste of global glory in 2018, and we have been starving for it ever since. But hungry dogs run fast. Time and time again, Cloud9 have risen to the occasion on the international stage, and though we have stumbled before, they will not stop us again. No. In fact, it's only the beginning for North America. It's time for 100 Thieves and Team Liquid to rise up in a...
Whoa, James, shut your mouth.
What?
Whoa. Hold on, Lyric. Let's hear him out. I like where he's going with
Thank
this.
you, man. I thought we did the whole auditions for the monologues and everything, and I felt like this was the time and the place.
You guys had your hope yesterday, sir. Today, give us a turn.
That's true. I mean, I don't know if you need hope, though, with how the Group B standings are looking at the moment, and we'll get into that in just a bit. Kobe and I obviously still riding a little high from the success of North America yesterday with Cloud9 eking their way out of the group stage. Kobe, it felt good.
They've shown everyone the way. Now the door is open. You know it's possible, so make those upsets happen.
Yeah, you see it right here on your screens. It's the group stage standings, and obviously Group A has already broken down. It's Damwon Kia, a perfect run out of the group's ball by Cloud9 at 3-4 fashion, having to win that tiebreaker to get out. I mean, it was historic in a number of ways, but taking down that second seed in FPX as well as Rogue on their way to doing it. And of course, you know it had to be Perks popping off in that final game on LeBlanc to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, even just the history coming in between members like Perks and, you know, the side of FPX coming in looking so well. Even up against Rogue where people said, hey, you know, maybe they haven't looked too cohesive. Their laners have been strong. It didn't matter in the face of Perks.
So many huge moments in this day for Cloud9. Perks, multiple giant pop-offs. Blabber as well, especially in the early games of the day. Controlling so many of these early snowball effects and being able to then clean up that coordination.
That Odo kill that we just saw was a big one. I'm looking at 45% damage share on the team. Again, it's not always the number you want to see because it indicates somebody else isn't putting that damage out. And I do know Sven tweeted out yesterday, he's like, I broke my hands on stage. Thank God my team was able to carry me across, but he was taking the damage while Perks was dealing it out.
Yeah, it reminded me of the 2018 LeBlanc for Perks as well. Lots of good shades here.
And a good look at them as they celebrate moving on to the next stage, the knockout stages. But, of course, we also have to talk about Damwon and the 6-0. The last perfect group stage performance was actually Longzhu Gaming all the way back in 2017. So this is a feat that needs to be recognized.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's really nice to see, right, losing Nuggery over to the LPL, bringing in Khan. And Chronicler said something yesterday that stood out to me, the fact that he believes Damwon have the best top side in the whole tournament. And I feel like we've been seeing that so far. Khan, Canyon, Showmaker, they've all just been completely dominant in their wins, and the macro from Damwon has been flawless.
If you didn't have Damwon as one of the tournament favorites, right now, you better move them there to #1 because they look so incredibly scary. And one of the things is, not just the play that they've shown, but in their last 2 games versus Rogue and versus Cloud9, they showed completely un-Damwon-like compositions and still picked up those wins. That is the most frightening thing. It felt like they were sending out feelers, you know, doing a little bit of extra and still coming up with the win.
Yeah, and I feel like we even see them play a little bit loose when they do get a lead, right? That they do make some mistakes. They are willing to make more aggressive plays, but they're always able to recover in the late game playing around these objectives.
Now, as those 2 teams move on, we have to say goodbye to FPX and Rogue. Both of these teams putting up stellar performances at different times. It's going to be sad to see Doing B exit the world stage. But Rogue is definitely a team I want to talk about, Kobe, and in one person in particular, I think it's important we talk about Hansama.
Yeah, I really want to shine a spotlight on Hansama because this man has been nothing short of spectacular for Rogue all tournament long. So many really clean plays from him. The mechanics have been on point multiple times, just displaying these types of outplays versus players on the world stage best players in the entire world. It's actually been just so cool to see him perform like this, even with the team losing.
We saw the evolution of the ban strategies against Rogue just ended up being get rid of the Draven, get rid of the Lucian, and then get rid of all the supports that'll get him fed. So definitely the teams themselves recognizing his ability. Let's go ahead and turn our eyes, though, to the teams of Group B who will be fighting for their own position in the quarterfinals today. And while EDG remain undefeated, T1 trail just behind them. For most people, those are the teams that, once again, we expect to exit, concluding our 6 games today. But after yesterday, Lyric, I think, anything can happen.
That's the thing, right? After yesterday, I am sweating a little bit coming in today. 100 Thieves, DFM not going to count them out. But along with Damwon, I definitely feel like EDG have looked like the most cohesive team here at the World Championship so far. Their meta read's been really good. They've had answers to these Enchanter supports down in the bottom lane. They're still diversifying their play, playing up more towards Flandre this time around. And I think Jeje, who a lot of people had question marks coming into this tournament, has completely stepped up for EDG.
Yeah, I've liked a lot of, especially his Lee Sin plays, really crisp mechanics showing up, definitely able to handle himself in a lot of these skirmishes.
I mean, they got their first win over T1 in the group stage in their organization's history last week, or in the first round robin. We'll see if they can do it again and ultimately exit ahead of them. But you mentioned not counting out either DFM or 100 Thieves. Let's start with DFM. Coming right back to you on this one, Kobe. It's Arya in the mid lane, right? And he did show up. For me, that's the spotlight player, the person that they're going to have to rely on if they're going to get anything done.
Yeah, let's keep pointing out the heroes for everybody, baby.
Please.
Yep, Arya was doing so much work, especially, remember, the Zoe game. Even though they're losing ground, he's still finding these key bubbles. It felt like just when they needed it, he would find the burst damage onto some carry, keep the hopes alive for a way back into the game. He's definitely performing, and it's really heartening to see because he's one of the players that every LJL fan has always talked about as they're so proud, waiting for him to be up on the international stage. It's already a heroic performance for them to be in the group stage, but being able to actually put up those performances here as well definitely go a long way.
Right, and again, you're in a group with players like FLICKR in the mid lane, and so I know
actually
you have to
FLICKR is like FLICKR, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Kobe. Thanks for keeping me honest. This is why I love having you around. All right, 100 Thieves. For me, while we have a lot of questions about how they perform throughout the day, I think you've got to look at the 100 Thieves versus T1 matchup because they are the team just above them in the standings, and so your best opportunity for making something interesting happen here is in that rematch.
Yeah, and I think it's super close too because we saw the last time they played, it was all about bringing junglers down towards the bottom lane. Both teams wanting to play heavily through that side. Again, we've talked about FLICKR versus FLICKR Daga and who could impact the map more. So I think definitely going to be looking at 100 Thieves as a winnable matchup for them, though T1 definitely the favorites.
Well, we won't have to wait long to see that T1 and 100 Thieves rematch. It's our second game of the day. Of course, Detonation Focus Me versus EDG will kick things off with our final round robin in Group B playing out for 6 more games, not including any tiebreakers like we had yesterday. So strap in, could be a long day. But we look at these first 2 games that we've already spotlit, and then Kobe, it's Edward Gaming versus T1 in match number 3.
That is a juicy one. I like how Lyric wants to be like, okay, the T100 Thieves, that one is the one hanging in the balance. T1 also definitely have a good shot at swinging up here, contesting EDG for the top of the group. Extremely excited and looking forward to this one because especially junglers have actually focused in different areas on the map so far. Even though EDG have shown a lot more flexibility, since finals than they did in the regular summer.
Well, as we know, legends are made at Worlds, and today, 2 of the league's most accomplished rosters look to their rookies to fill the shoes of giants and fill the pages of history. Our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz is EDG versus T1. And within that matchup, we talk about those rookies. We talk about the people who need to step up. It's been an incredible year for rookies.
At Worlds, we watch new rookies follow in the footsteps of legends, and JJ and Owner have shown that they are ready to pick up the torch.
Have a lot of wards. It's very scary pushing out this wave.
Oh, JJ for FBI, but he wasn't quick enough, and that means he's just instantly taken down.
In EDG versus T1, we get to watch an explosive jungle matchup between these 2 rookies and the Titans of Group B.
Right back on the safety. Arya in the area. It's going to be a sleepy Brave. Oh, no! To get over the wall. Big shadow assault. Oh, parkour. Here we go, baby. Assassin's Creed. Jump forward, leap in. That's some Noxy and diplomacy.
Owner and JJ are part of the new era for these storied organizations who are here to take the throne.
Well, I may have jumped the gun, but it doesn't change what I was going to say. An incredible year for rookies all around the world. And as we focus in on our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz, let's go ahead and look towards the jungle and those relative rookies in question. We've got Honor on one side. We got JJ on the other. Let's start with Honor.
And we wanted to look at, where these two have been hovering. So this is the jungle proximity broken down by lane. And when you think of EDG, and we're talking about the regular season and summer, so much around Viper, around the bottom side. And yet, thus far, we've actually had a lopsided top jungle proximity for them. And you think of, like the Lucian game for Flandre, and they were able to execute on 1-3 run. They've actually earned quite a lot from top triangle of the map. That's why I feel like they're looking so scary now with a lot more versatility.
Yeah, EDG overall, they've grown so much since the early parts of the split. JJ especially looking like the weak link, wasting a lot of time on map, wasn't playing too well around his lanes. And like Kobe just said, it was all about the bottom lane. But ever since playoffs, he's been playing a lot with Scout, he's been playing a lot with Flandre, and we've seen just mechanical excellence so far. I still remember his Lee Sin kick up against DFM, which pretty much saved the game for him. And it's nice to see him living up to other legends like Clearlove before him.
Meanwhile, speaking of rookies, James, gotta talk up Owner, and you saw that jungle plus support proximity there.
30+%.
Him and his boy Carrier meeting up for a lot of plays. And I love watching him play because he is a feast or famine jungler.
Yeah.
But when he is feast, he feasts hard. He is so aggressive. And since they get so many support roams with him, you add that CC, add so much more kill potential to a lot of these roams, and they control a lot of this early pace.
I love stats like that, and I love the fact that we broke it down by lane because, as you mentioned, similar percentages in terms of team jungle proximity between the two junglers, but the parts of the map that they're paying attention to wildly different. We talk about bot focus, so then we got to talk about Viper. He's still deathless in this tournament. I know Showmaker was as well coming into his second round robin, and ultimately
good company
fell.
he's keeping.
Yeah, it's good company. If you're in the likes of a group with Showmaker, then that's a good start. We'll see if he can continue that deathless streak today.
And it's going to be super important, right? Because EDG have been in a group with T1 at Worlds twice in the past. T1 have always come out first place in that group, but I definitely think Viper has been the game changer for EDG ever since he's come in. He's still very lane dominant like players like Uzi or Jackie Love were, but he doesn't have as much of the baggage of sometimes going a bit too far to get those high damage numbers.
So much history in this matchup, even though it was only a couple times of meeting up. Mako will remember, FLICKR will remember. Scout was even sub behind FLICKR as well, so a little bit of extra.
All right, we await that. That's the third match of the day, so a couple hours to go before that one. First, EDG must face off against Detonation Focus Me. And the last two times, or rather last time that these teams met, it was a closer fight than anyone might have expected. Again, already history made by this DFM squad to get to this point, putting up a fight against EDG the first time around. I think the question remains today, can they add to history by putting a win on the board?
I definitely think it's possible, right? We saw last time around, the big thing that'll jump out to me is Steel bringing out the talent. He was doing such a nice job of traversing wards and vision and getting all of these ganks that none of the EDG members expected. And EDG are a bit of a more controlled team. They've been even slower here at the World Championship than they were in the LPL. And I think if you're DFM, if you can find early action, it's always been what makes EDG a little bit uncomfortable. So we're going to be looking at the mid-jungle duo of DFM to be able to put on the same pressure that they did last time around.
Exactly. When the players themselves on EDG are referencing the speed of the game and the snowballs as the reason why they've lost and why they were uncomfortable, you should go with that. Run with that.
They gave you the strats. They called it out. They called their own game plan. No, I mean, obviously, most of the time at Worlds when we see an underdog team take a victory, it is generally due to aggression. It's taking the fight to the opposing team early and keeping the pressure on.
And it just reminds me of, things like Vietnam when they make their historic performances, at Worlds.
Marines, one of my favorite teams of all time.
It really does suck that they haven't been able to travel for Worlds the last couple of years, but now LJL are in that sort of position, their first time in groups. These strategies like the double jungling for Nocturne, get him to level 6 before anybody else.
5 minutes, man. 5 minutes!
Those types of things, I want to see that.
Yeah.
Level 1 lane strategy. Yeah, craft a strategy around either Arya or Evie would be my two picks. and just go extremely hard in one direction.
Now, real quick before we go, I do think we need to talk real quick about EDG. And there's a member of the team that we haven't talked a ton about throughout this tournament because there have been other top performers, but that's Mako. He's a mainstay of this EDG roster at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he joined EDG and the LPL in Season 5. Won the LPL in his very first split. I think people will remember that roster. It had the likes of Deft, it had Pawn, and ever since then, he's transformed from a rookie to the captain, the shot caller. They won that first MSI. He's a 4-time LPL champion, and he has 5 appearances at Worlds so far. I think he's definitely been a critical member in the mainstay of EDG over all these years, plays multiple different styles, and has always been lane dominant.
And especially that MSI win means so much to them. I went to the EDG facility when we were there for Worlds in China, and they have a video that just plays in the lobby. That is a highlight video of the MSI win, the MSI performance that is just on repeat, on loop. They want to add to that highlight video, some Worlds finishes.
All right, well, to do it, perhaps they look for a 6-0 to get out of the group stage and book their ticket into the quarterfinals. We're diving into game number 1, so it's my pleasure to hand it over to Atlas, Chronicler, and Wolf for the call.